You wake before dawn. The world is still. Your phone is not. Notifications pulse like a timer. Achievement after achievement. You learn to follow the glow. A promotion, a new car, a different city. You chase milestones like trophies. You learn the language of success, metrics, followers, ranks. You nod when others tell you what matters. You repeat the words until they stick. You live like the dream was an instruction manual. You sprint. You take angles, hacks, shortcuts. You optimize your life for other people's applause. You feel the rush of momentum. It tastes like sugar and exhaust. And then one day you stop. Not because you won, because you realize you are tired of running. You look up. The skyline is the same. Something in your chest no longer answers the list. You feel a small, insistent ache. It wants a question. Why am I doing this? Who is this dream for? You thought you were climbing. You were climbing someone else's ladder. You stand in front of the mirror. The reflection is familiar. The life you built suits you. It fits the mold perfectly. But the eyes are different. They have the look of someone who has been performing. The smile practiced. The laugh scheduled. You count the cost. Hours traded for currency. Connections outsourced to convenience. Birthdays that blur. Words you forgot to say. You think of your body of work. It is impressive. It is hollow. There is a resonance missing. You begin to catalog losses, not tragedies, small disappearances, slow evaporation, an unread book, a quiet conversation you postponed, the song you never learned to sing, a parent's hands you didn't hold often enough. These are not failures by the scoreboard. They are grief, quiet grief, the kind that sits on the steps of your day. You try to justify. You tell yourself this is temporary, that the payoff is coming. But payoff arrives as another decision. The ledger never clears. The chase demands more. You feel betrayed, not by others, by the promise that this would make you whole. You find yourself in a room with no one watching. You listen. There is a small voice in the space. It speaks in fragments. It talks about mornings that didn't feel like tasks. It mentions hands in soil, laughter spilling from a kitchen at midnight, meaning not measured by scale. You remember a younger you, that person who dreamed in colors, not charts. They wanted depth, not distance. They wanted to build things that lasted in people, not in statistics. You touch that memory like an artifact. Dust falls off it. It still smells like possibility. You start writing a list. Not a plan to win. A map of what matters. Not money, not fame. The things that anchor you, presence, craft, time, honesty, a home you feel safe in. Hands that hold you without asking for your price. You whisper these names to yourself. They feel foreign and right. You realize the dream everyone chased was shiny because it hid the cost. You realize you were chasing the easiest definition of success. You realize the harder truth: most people do not know what matters until they look away from the scoreboard. Decision is not a single flash. It is slow like tides. You start small. You say no, not angrily, cleanly. You stop doing things to be seen. You cancel an event you never wanted to attend. You leave the party early. You say, "I can't tonight," and mean it. You make space to be bored. In that boredom, you meet yourself. You stop signing up for other people's urgency. You pause the machine to learn what hums beneath the gears. You start saying yes to different things. A project that feels like play. A dinner that is only for remembering faces. A Sunday morning that isn't a meeting. You admit small truths to friends. You tell them you are changing. Some will cheer. Some will worry. A few will pull away. That hurts. You feel the loss sharp again. But every loss is a pruning. You begin to curate your life like an art exhibit. You choose what has room to breathe. That choice is terrifying and liberating. Practicality meets courage. You do the small things that reshape days. You put down your phone an hour earlier. You replace scrolling with a single, stubborn ritual. Reading, walking, making. You practice attention like a muscle. You cultivate curiosity instead of certainty. You learn to ask better questions. What do I want to feel when I wake up? Who do I want beside me on the hard nights? What work gives me energy instead of taking it? You set boundaries. You guard your time like a rare seed. You invest in craft, not clout. You choose depth projects over shallow wins. Maybe you leave a job slowly. Maybe you renegotiate. Maybe you reskill. You fail. You stumble. The world keeps its old scripts ready to shame you, but you keep returning to this new metric. Does this bring me toward a life I can keep loving? You learn to measure success by resonance, not reach. Your calendar becomes a compass. You begin to tell a different story. You explain fewer things. You live the rest. People ask what you do. You answer with the thing that makes you come alive. Sometimes it confuses them. Mostly it surprises you. You notice smaller joys swelling. A dish you cooked from memory. A sunrise you didn't skip. A friend call that starts with silence and ends with laughter. You see the ripple in others. A friend watches you slow down and copies the courage. A partner breathes easier. Your children see someone who is present. You become a gravity. Not because you amassed power, because you made room. You show up whole. You teach by example. The dream you chase now has different limits. It holds fragility. It knows failure. It values repair. It is not a finish line. It is a horizon you can walk toward without collapsing trying to sprint there. You are building something quieter, a life that does not need a stage to exist, an honest architecture of days. The world still sells the old glitter. The headline dream will never stop shouting. You will still see people run. And maybe you will run sometimes, out of habit. You forgive yourself for that. Real change is not perfection. It is attention. It is the daily act of choosing what matters. You will grieve the life you thought you wanted. Grief is part of the bargain. But grief also clears space. What remains is yours to steward. You breathe in and feel the weight shift. You are quieter. You are steadier. You carry a new gravity, the one that anchors others. This is not the end of wanting. It is the end of being driven by other people's metrics. You still want things. You want kindness, art, mastery, truth. You want a legacy that smells like presence. You want mornings that greet you like an old friend. So begin. Cancel the autopilot. Ask the hard question. Who are you living for? Then make one small change. Say no to one thing that drains you. Say yes to one thing that fills you. Do it again, tomorrow, and again. The wrong dream looked dazzling because it required no soul. The right dream asks everything. It asks for your time. It asks for your messy honesty. It asks you to stay. It asks you to show up when no one applauds. But it gives you something that glitter never can. It gives you a life you can carry into your last morning and say, I lived this one. Fade to quiet. You finally breathe.